From my tiny Brooklyn apartment, I transport friends and family to unexplored worlds, exotic adventures, and trips down the highways and byways of yesteryear. How can I accomplish such a feat on a minimal budget? Through the magic of an over-the-top tabletop. Hey, welcome, and thanks for joining me. This weekend I have some friends coming over who are huge fans of the old 1960s TV show I Dream of Jeannie. So I think they'd really enjoy a themed dinner. I'd like to do a tribute table to this classic show, but where do I begin with that? Now, most of us do not have a ton of 1960s TV memorabilia featuring a scantily clad Jeannie in a bottle just sitting around. Well, who knows, maybe some of you do, but we won't go there. Anyway, actually, I do have some, but I keep it hidden in my office. Don't tell my HR team. But let's just say that I didn't, so what would I do? First, what do we know about the show? Actually, I know quite a lot, because the reruns were often one of my choice after-school TV shows. Right up there with Gilligan's Island, The Brady Bunch, while I ate my bowl of Count Chocula's. To brush up a little bit, I watched a few episodes online and did a tad bit of research. Okay, I Dream of Jeannie buffs, here is a little trivia question for you. What famous cartoon artist created the animation for that opening sequence? Was it A, Fritz Frayling, B, Walt Disney, C, Don Bluth, or D, Ollie Johnston? The answer coming up. I Dream of Jeannie was produced by Screen Gems. It debuted at 8 p.m. on Saturday, September 18th, 1965 on NBC. It aired 139 episodes through May 26th of 1970. So quite a deep pool of story to pull from here. I Dream of Jeannie starred Barbara Eden and Larry Hagman. Yep, Mr. Hagman eventually became J.R. Ewing in Dallas, which the entire country wanted to know who shot J.R. back in 1980, just 10 years after the last episode of I Dream of Jeannie. Now, the cast was rounded off with brilliant character actors including Bill Daly, Hayden Rourke, and other talented regulars, and a long list of special guest stars. Not to mention that Barbara Eden herself, which we will discuss more in a moment, but it had been said that I Dream of Jeannie did not make Barbara Eden. Barbara Eden made I Dream of Jeannie. The series was about a NASA astronaut in Cape Canaveral, Florida, named Tony Nelson. He fortuitously discovered a beautiful genie in a bottle, and she didn't just grant him 3 wishes, but moved in with him in his home in Cocoa Beach, and, spoiler, eventually married him. Now, Jeannie dispensed her magic with a blink and a nod. Major Nelson rarely to never wanted her to use her magic. Why is beyond me. Although her magic often led to mishaps, misunderstandings, and misadventures that kept the series fun and entertaining enough to last for 5 seasons. But to remain consistently in syndication and inspire an old man here in Brooklyn to do a tablescape tribute 52 years later. Yeah, I know, get a life. First of all, I had to take inventory of what I already had that may work. There may be some ways we could go about this theme. Now, season 1 was in black and white with a touch more realism than the following seasons, so we could kind of do a black and white theme if we wanted to. We can go with that candy-colored episodes of those later seasons. Now, since the show was set and aired in the 1960s, we could also go with that mid-century modern vibe. Or we could go with that cartoonish look like the famous title sequence in the opening credits. Or we could take a more thematic nod to Jeannie's homeland with Baghdad as the theme. So there's lots of options here. I looked around my house and my props department, which is what I call my storage unit. Yeah, storage unit here in Brooklyn costs more than my first apartment did. Anyway, so what did I find? I found a little of each of those options. Hey, this is an over-the-top tabletop, so why not pull out all the stops? You know my philosophy on props. Yep, the philosophy I stole from Beverly D'Angelo in Coal Miner's Daughter. What we don't have, we'll buy. What we can't buy, we'll make. What we can't make, we'll steal. Now your table is a stage, so select the elements to set that stage for this really fun, over-the-top theme dinner. So the color palette here kind of defines itself on this one. Unless we go with that black and white of the first season, which I really don't think I want to do, it may be kind of anticlimactic. The obvious colors are that bubblegum pink, raspberry, antique gold, maybe a splash of eggplant and grape here and there too. The backdrop I'm going to use is this fabulous bubblegum pink tablecloth. Candles are so important for a table, and in this one I'm going to use these mosaic candle holders. Sound, of course, we got to have sound through this. We're going to talk a little bit about thematic music later on, but please put together a great playlist that features classic TV shows or also classic music from Baghdad in the Middle East. Now the supporting casts here are plates, our chargers, our napkins, our glassware, sometimes a star, but in this case it's just a featured role, and that's our floral. Today we're using these large Turkic vases, which I borrowed. We're adding some white jasmine stems, which are indigenous to Pakistan and Syria, grounded with some faux olive branches, which are native to Asia Minor. Now both of these floral choices deliver the general silhouette that I wanted to make for the statement pieces, but it also lends a nod to Jeannie's region of origin. For a splash of color and dramatic flair, we're adding some large dyed plumes from within our color palette. Some other details we want to consider here are napkin rings, place cards, coasters, any hidden treasures that we want to put on here. Hidden treasures I would consider as maybe inspirational quotes, trivia, perhaps Bible verses, lyrics, statistics, funnies, riddles, anything like that, or maybe just a really surprise special piece. Also, we want to consider the menu and what we're going to serve. And what else could I use from around my house? I found this great mouse pad that's like a Persian rug. I found an awesome candy dish that I dressed up a little bit to make it into a fun Dream of Jeannie theme. I found a great serving bowl also within that desired palette. So those are all great things to do and put those to use. Now all these elements alone could totally accomplish our goal of setting the mood for an I Dream of Jeannie themed dinner. But if we're really going for an over-the-top tabletop, we really need to cast some superstars. These would be some iconic items on the table that will define the theme and truly make this an iconic over-the-top tabletop. Now, I hate to admit it, but I did grow up watching I Dream of Jeannie, and the first thing that comes to mind is 1, Jeannie's iconic bottle, and 2, Jeannie's controversial costume. Since I have neither of those in my closet, or do I? We'll have to figure those out. So first, I did a little research about the bottle. The actual bottle was a special Christmas issue 1964 Jim Beam liquor decanter that contained Beam's Choice Bourbon Whiskey. It was designed by Roy Kramer for the Wheaton Bottle Company. Now, there are myths and legends of who discovered or suggested this particular bottle for Jeannie's 2,000-year place of residence, but it has become one of the most recognizable bottles in history. Well, of course, there is that other contour bottle from Atlanta filled with sugary effervescent goodness. Surprisingly, these bottles are still readily available, and with a little searching, you can find them already decorated to replicate Jeannie's bottle. However, they can get a little pricey, so I found an unpainted one on Mercari for just $51. A little polish, a little paint, a little bedazzling, and poof, we have a Jeannie's bottle. The longevity and fan loyalty to the show is no doubt thanks to the actress played the title role of Jeannie, Barbara Eden. Now, she played Jeannie in all 139 episodes. She even guest starred occasionally as her antagonist brunette sister, who also happened to be named, you guessed it, Jeannie. She also played in a few episodes where she portrayed her own mother. Now, Miss Eden was the perfect talent for this show. Her talent, versatility, charm, and innocence was big enough to tame her stunning beauty and obvious sex appeal, enough for primetime TV in the 1960s. Now that takes a lot of talent. So it's really pertinent that we have some sort of licensed tribute to that lady herself represented on this table. I'll be honest, I had a little too much fun shopping for this one. I just got lost in the nostalgia of it all, and I rediscovered one of my first crushes. I found the following items online. This adorable salt and pepper shaker, issued in 1999. I picked these up for $20. A vintage I Dream of Jeannie lunchbox, $10. I Dream of Jeannie animation cell. This was a replica, but I picked it up for $14. I Dream of Jeannie porcelain doll. Now this was produced by Danbury Mint, and I won it on an online auction for $86. Now that sounds kind of pricey, I know, but this doll sells for much more than that, so it's really a good deal. And then I borrowed this autograph. That's actually an autograph from Barbara Eden, which is really cool. So let's start assembling this I Dream of Jeannie tribute table. Here's a few more fun facts while I'm setting the table. The show was created by Sidney Sheldon in response as a competing show on ABC called Bewitched. Now, I'd seen Sidney Sheldon's name on the credits many times over, but during this project, I learned that he was well on his way to being an EGOT. If you don't know what an EGOT is, that's the winner of all 4 of the major accolades in the entertainment industry. He had already won the Tony. He won that for a show called Redhead with Gwen Verdon. And then he was an Oscar winner for an original screenplay for Bachelor and the Bobby Soxer. Now, he was nominated for an Emmy for I Dream of Jeannie, but he never won. He was also a musician, but was not recognized for his work in that field either. He was, however, inducted in the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1988. Okay, so the trivia question was, what famous cartoon artist created the animation for the opening sequence? A. Fritz Frayling, B. Walt Disney, C. Don Bluth, or D. Ollie Johnson? Its answer is A. Fritz, the creator of such famous Warner Brothers characters, including Yosemite Sam in 1945, the great cat and bird duo Sylvester and Tweety in 1947, and even little Speedy Gonzales in 1955. Are we ready for the reveal? Drum roll, please. And if you think this table looks good now, you gotta see it in candlelight. Thanks again for joining me today. Please join me in additional projects and invite your friends to join us too. The more, the merrier. There are links below, including to Over the Top Tabletop 101 and Essential Guide to the Basics. Remember, an Over the Top Tabletop project is a contest. Who has the most fun, your guests or you dreaming it up and putting it together? See you next time. Meanwhile, make something beautiful today and make beautiful memories for tomorrow. God bless. And Miss Eden, if you're watching out there, I hope you enjoyed our little tribute